I bring up Prince Andrew because we got some more Epstein news dropped this week about who was in his Rolodex. Like after he had served time for soliciting a minor for the purposes of prostitution, he was having meetings with the current head of the CIA and Noam Chomsky. Those are the big headline pulls from that. And Matt, you were absolutely right. Michael Parenti heads are eating on Twitter this week.
Oh yeah.
Just old man Noam taking a big L on this one.
Yeah. Libertarian socialism. Ooh, hit the showers.
But I mean, I guess like probably more of note is the current head of the CIA, and like
he went to him for like a recommendation or something. Like he was going into the private sector, and he wanted like advice from Epstein on how to do the transition.
Well, I mean, he's a guy who knows a lot of stuff.
He knows people, as we've seen. Not a lot of names in that black book.
Actually, we have also a woman named Catherine Rumler, who was a White House counsel under Barack Obama, had dozens of meetings with Epstein before becoming a top lawyer at Goldman Sachs. And then we're also finding out a lot about like Jamie Dimon's business dealings with and Goldman's business dealings with Jeffrey Epstein as well recently. But that's a it's sort of a minor detour. I mean, the Noam Chomsky thing is funny, though. And like when people were emailing about it, he was just like, he was literally like, that's none of your business. Fuck off. Which is good because
stop pocket watching.
Yeah. Because, I mean, the guy does really respond to every email, but perhaps too much.
Fucking apparently.
Yeah.
This is all, I mean, yeah, this is all interesting. I'm as interested in any of this as anyone else, I guess. But like, it's like, I feel like, what was it, like 3 or 4 years ago, we found out that Leon Black, the Apollo management guy, this guy is like, I think tens of billions of dollars, super rich guy, fixture on Wall Street. He gave Epstein hundreds of millions of dollars for what he called tax preparation, which is
H&R
Block. Yeah, I mean, like, let's choose to believe that for a second. Like, let's go with that story. He couldn't find anyone else. That was the only guy. That was the only fucking guy. And then, there's whisperings of, Glenn Dubin, this other hedge fund guy, maybe he bought his fucking wife from Epstein. They offered Epstein a daughter, and then it just fucking nothing happens. Sometimes there are settlements, like J.P. Morgan had to do some type of settlement, but unfortunately it just doesn't seem to ever go anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, there's no one in any position of power to follow up on any of this stuff, So it just floats out there, and you're like, "Wow, that's pretty weird." And then you hear about it.
Yeah, and then it transmorphs into like whatever it is now, where like for half the country, like they now have like their own Epstein flight logs where they say like John Legend was there. I said like Akon.
Everyone who was
there.
Everyone who's in the 2016 DNC fight song music video is on the Epstein logs.
And it's like, I'm sure some of them, but like some of them are just fucking ridiculous. Like T-Pain is on there. There's a lot of R&B artists on it.
Everyone from Obama's hip hop barbecue that didn't create any jobs.
Yeah.
Not a single job has still ever been created.
Not a single job created by that hip hop barbecue.
Yeah, if you see a supposed Epstein flight log that has OG Mako on it, that's not the real one.
I mean, I guess like just the thing that and people bring it up is just another example of like how many prominent people were seeking his counsel and company, like well after the fact that he'd already been to prison for teenage prostitution. I mean, it's just, something of note, something to keep in mind, I suppose. But yeah, like this is just another tidbit that's gonna, circle the drains of people's minds and just move along because there's nowhere for it to go. Really, the guy's dead.
Yeah, exactly.
And anything, I mean, there's a bunch of things I really desperately want to know about this, as does everyone. Like, what was the nature of the renewed prosecution in him? Was it like, did just some do-gooder in the U.S. Attorney's Office go, hey, we should get this guy, and then other forces killed him? Or was the entire thing just an effort to corral him and snuff him out? And then sort of memify all his crimes so they become less real and become another like ephemeral cultural joke. I don't know. I don't feel like we're gonna really know the answers to these things for another like 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 years, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, the only other thing that makes sense is that it was an intentional like closing of like an account or something. Like, you know, somebody else had shown up somewhere else on a board that was in some way competing with Epstein. I don't know. Some sort of internecine thing. We'll never know, probably.
I mean, like they do guys like Epstein, which is to say guys who like run sort of a sexual blackmail service for intelligence agencies. Your Craig Spence's, those accounts usually get closing, right? Like those guys don't usually retire and then die of old age.
Yeah, that's true. At a certain point, it's like how it's very similar to how in the MCU they would get relatively unknown actors to play their big superheroes because they were relatively cheap and the audience was interested in the character. And then, you know, after 2 or 3 movies, they get so big, so famous, they're commanding such big salaries that they just kill them off and create a new generation of superheroes. This is essentially what they do with the child trafficking wings.
So who's
let them get too big for their britches?
So there's like a Miles Morales to Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah, exactly.
Jeffrey Epstein 2099.
Yeah, I mean, if there is, there's a great PS5 game coming.
Yeah. The only question is why was that started with a public prosecution? And that's where you got to figure it's like some sort of information warfare. The only thing that makes sense.
Yeah, because I mean, it is something we've referenced time and time again that like censorship or rather control of information isn't so much. It's not done by censorship or restricting the flow. It's done by deluge.
Yep.
You just soak the whole zone, and then before you know it, people are like, "Oh, you know who else was on the flights? John Ritter.
He didn't actually die."
Yeah.
Into the Spider Network verse.